Well, I've been thinking, and the event in Charleston, South Carolina at the Emmanuel AME Church has been weighing heavy on me. I've been sad about it. I've been feeling lost about it. I've been feeling like the work that we've been doing hasn't been working. You know, and I don't like feeling that way. I don't like feeling that way. When I was reading about the people at the AME Church, and you know what? Even in their sadness and their grief and their pain, they aren't lost. They aren't lost. This is what happened the Sunday after that event that happened on a Wednesday. They all came to that church, and that church was packed. And the energy was just blowing the roof off that place. And they all came. They didn't stay home. They didn't stay home. They showed up. And here's what their minister talked about on that Sunday morning. He said this: "It is by faith that we are standing and sitting here. It has been tough, it has been rough, and some of us have been downright angry. But through it all, God has sustained us. God has sustained us." He said, lots of folks expected us to do something strange and break out in a riot. Well, they just don't know us. And you know what happened when he said that? They stood up and cheered. They stood up and cheered. They just don't know us, is what he said. I'm reminded of some news media persons that wondered why the 9 families all spoke of forgiveness at the bond hearing for Ruth and didn't have malice in their hearts. He said it's that those 9 families got it. They got it. He reminded the worshipers that those members' unwavering faith in God shows us how to love one another, how to love each other as we love ourselves. And a gentleman who happened to be in Charleston on vacation and decided to show up there said this. He said, so we're here today in this church with God and everybody because we all have the same God. This is what they were talking about. How did that happen? How did that happen out of grief and pain and anger? How did it come to be that forgiveness, love, and oneness came out of that? How did that happen? I was feeling lost, they were not. And right here at Unity, we have the roadmap for how to do that. We've just cast it aside. We're not using it. We're not using it. But they have given us a great example of exactly how to use the roadmap that we already have. We teach here at Unity that God is within. But that's not how we live all the time, every day and every moment as we travel around the world. We don't live as if God is within, for real, as the young people would say. For real, for real. It's real, it's the truth. God within. Jesus taught everything from the Father through me. Everything from Spirit through me. Everything from the unseen into the seen through me. Is that how we live? I don't think we live that way enough. The people in Charleston at the AME Church know that. And one of the greatest commandments of all time, I think, and it's not even included in the 10 that you know to be the 10 commandments, and that is this. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. How much time do we dedicate to stillness in our life? Every day. To the stillness, to know the God of our being, not the God out there, but the God that exists and resides in our consciousness, from which we are made, created in the image and likeness. How often do we sit in the stillness to allow that to come up in us? Well, I think not enough. I think not enough. And in fact, the first thing when we walk out of here that rocks our world, we want to start with the blame game. We want to start telling everybody why it shouldn't be so. We want to start judging other people for the mess that we find ourselves in. We want to make it about this stuff out here. That's the first thing we want to do. We decide, in some cases, to be the victim, to harden our hearts, and to say, crucify him, crucify her, crucify them. It's them. Crucify them. You know, that has nothing to do with living from the God within. That has nothing to do with everything from the Father through me. And it has nothing to do with be still and know that I am God. So how do we do that? In the sometimes horrific angst of the happenings in the outer, like the murder of 9 people at a church prayer service by a young man who prayed with them for an hour before he decided to take a gun out and shoot 9 people. How do we get there? Well, these people at that same church, Emmanuel AME in Charleston, South Carolina, in our backyard, showed us they turned within. They came from the inside out. They know and they knew in those instances that life is more than what happens on the outside. There's something greater going on here. There's something much greater going on in life. Something much more profound than anything that's happening out here. Life is more than just circumstances and situations and obstacles and conditions. It's much more than even making a lot of money or retiring early. It's much more than any of that. It's much deeper and profound. And I've run across an affirmation that I think really guides us in the understanding of this idea. And that is this. If in every one of these situations, if in every day we live like this, I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. Wow. That's like big stuff. That's the reason for my existence. In my own unique way, I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. You are on the voyage of your soul through eternity. And there is no one soul that's better than any other soul, by the way. And it has nothing to do with your accomplishments in the outer. Where you work, what you do, how many degrees you have, how much money you make, where you live. I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. Say that with me. I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. Through eternity. No beginning, no end. Just happen to manifest this way right now in this body. I'm on the voyage of my soul. See, I think that makes me feel powerful. Not in my body, but in the reason that I'm here. And knowing that it's the same reason you're here, for that evolution of your soul, to know your wholeness, the evolution of your soul through eternity. So here you are. All aboard. Tickets, please, is what I'm saying. All aboard this voyage. Tickets, please. And you know what your ticket is? Your ticket is simply the belief that it is so. Can I punch it for you? Punch that ticket? The ticket is, I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. Think of whatever's happening in your life right now. And it's not about that. It's about the voyage of my soul through eternity. So what is the soul? Those of you who know me know, I'm all about the words. What is my soul? Well, the soul in unity, we talk about soul being consciousness. Soul is consciousness. Well, what is that? It's like these things that you can't explain. I told them at 9 o'clock we would still be here at 10 if I started to try to explain what consciousness was, and you wouldn't even know any better when you walked out the door because it's almost unexplainable. So for concepts and ideas that are unexplainable, like God, we can always fall to the experience of that. So I want to offer you this morning an experience of what consciousness is. Okay, and I'm going to do that from a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. So he says, let's try a consciousness experiment. Are you ready?
Yes.
It won't hurt. No hypnotism involved. I'm not going to do an altar call. Just stay where you are. All right? Notice that with a single glance in this room, you instantaneously see the full detail of everything that's in here. You are effortlessly aware of all the objects that are within the scope of your vision. And you can perceive all the intricate detail of everything you see. All the colors, the variations of light, the fabrics, the wood grain, the architecture of the room. Notice that you can take this all in at once without having to think about it. No thoughts are necessary, you just see it. Now, try to use your thoughts to isolate, label, and describe all the intricate detail of what you see. Go on. Describe it to yourself. In intricate detail, everything you're seeing. How long would it take your mental voice to describe all of that detail versus the instantaneous snapshot of consciousness just seeing it? When you just look without creating thoughts, your consciousness is effortlessly aware and fully comprehends all it sees. So consciousness is pure awareness. But what is awareness? Well, let's try another experiment here. So you're in this room, and you're looking at the piano and the people up here. And I would say to you, now, could you make believe that this piano doesn't exist? Could you close your eyes and pretend it wasn't here? Probably can, huh? Could you close your eyes, and if I just be quiet for a moment, could you pretend I wasn't here? Well, yeah, you could do that, right? So, now, how about if you just turn off your awareness? Just pretend your awareness isn't there. Can you do it?
No.
Probably not. That would be like saying, wow, I used to be in here and now I'm not. Right? You can't do it. That is your consciousness. It is the place, Michael Singer says, it is who you really are. And describes it this way: I am the one who sees. From back in here somewhere, I look out and I'm aware of events, thoughts, and emotions that pass before me. I'm aware of them from way back there. Consciousness, pure awareness. I am in the voyage of my soul through eternity. I'm on the voyage of my consciousness forever and ever. I always have been and I always will be. There's no end and there's no beginning. I'm on the voyage of my soul through eternity. Pretty amazing, isn't it? I would say to think about it like that, but you don't have to think. To be on this voyage, we don't think about being on the voyage. To engage in the voyage, we don't think about, oh, I'm on this voyage. We simply have to present our ticket. You know, all aboard, tickets please, present your ticket. What is your ticket? Simply the belief that I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. I am here to evolve my consciousness. I'm here to live a spiritual life from that place that sees beyond and back of all of my awareness. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. That's what we're here to do. And not only to believe that, but to profoundly expect that God, as wisdom, power, strength, courage, love, joy, potential, possibility, all exist in its fullness to allow you to do that to your highest potential. All of that exists at that point of consciousness in you, to support you, to be this amazing being in a profound way. With profound expectation. See, we call this, I've been doing some study with the University of Metaphysics online, and I came across this idea that makes sense right here. This idea that we believe that we're living that way. This idea that we believe that the God of our soul is supporting us to do and to be the highest and best is called having a positive, transcendent attitude. A positive, transcendent attitude. To bring that attitude to our life and to live from there, no matter what is happening or what we're doing in the outer place. Transcendent means elevated. It means unquestionable. It means beyond time and space. That kind of attitude, and positive, with profound expectation of the support of the God of our being. Amazing way to live with that positive, transcendent attitude. And when we do, we're like the people at the AME church. When Reverend Goff said, they don't know us. They don't know what we are and who we are. It's because they live this way. You know, when you have this positive, transcendent attitude, people don't recognize you. They think you're weird. You do crazy stuff because you're not influenced by the outer. Whether it's 9 people murdered in my church or something else, we are not influenced by that because we know something greater. People don't know who we are. People don't recognize us because we're living from a higher place. They call us crazy. They're not sure how to think about us. And that's what happens when we live like we're on a voyage of our soul through eternity with profound and positive expectation, with an amazing, positive, transcendent attitude. They won't recognize you. And when I was hurt and looking and lost and feeling lost, I didn't recognize it either. Not as fully as I do today, the example that those people in that church and that community are giving as a gift to each of us. So if Reverend Goff was here today, he might ask us, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get what this life is about? Even in your hurt and your anger and your frustration and your sadness, do you get it? Like those 9 families did, who forgave, not years later after therapy, but in the same instant that they were in contact with the man who took the lives, because they were living from a different place. So I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. Say that with me. I am on the voyage of my soul through eternity. I rely on the presence and power of God to sustain and guide me. Say that. I rely on the presence and power of God to sustain and guide me. I look inward for wisdom, strength, courage, and love. Say it. I look inward for courage, strength, wisdom, and love. I look inward, and I rise up. Say that. I rise up, and I am grateful. I am grateful. So let's take these thoughts into meditation as we sing, Lead Me to the Light. Surrender. simply lead me to the light. Lead me to this place inside of me that knows for sure that anything and everything in the outer exists only in its physical form, but I exist. And I have my being in the awareness that is my soul. And I am here to express the fullness of my soul. I want you to know and claim these affirmations. I am powerful. I matter. My soul longs to fulfill its great destiny in me, supported and sustained by the power and the presence that is God in me. And I take time each day to be in the silent awareness of these truths, to be still and know that I am God. So for just this moment, let's do exactly that. To be still and know that the I am that is God is in me as me now. Sweet, sweet life that pulses forward from me, from you, into this physical world, from my awareness, from my consciousness, from my oneness with the God of all that is. Sweet life that breathes me into this moment, that supports me, that sustains me in all of my situations and circumstances, and whatever that's happening outside my life, knowing that I can turn to the foundation inside of me and rely on that for strength, wisdom, courage, joy, passion, and unlimited possibilities. For all this and more, we can be grateful now, and we claim it and use it as the truth as we take each step, as we breathe each breath, and move forward from this place in time. We know that it is so in our heart of hearts, and so it is.